young, and the father was being interviewed, and the father said that since young, I've always told my son that one day he's gonna be someone big. So, and today, which is the self-fulfilling prophecy, today he's someone big today. That's why what you say means well to someone else. But sometimes there is an adverse effect, means people would prove you wrong. Meaning, because you say I'm lazy, I'll prove to you that you are not lazy. Now, the disadvantages of schemas. Of course, we know that schemas are good, but sometimes it's not good. The first one is that schemas might restrict to bias or distort. It can be 90% of it correct or 80% of it correct, but we have to be reminded of the remaining 20% or the 10%. Now, schemas are very difficult to change. Once you have that schemas, it's very difficult to change. Yeah, so be careful with that. It's often difficult to change until something bad happens. Now, issues here is that is schema good or bad? It's actually not good or bad. That shouldn't be a question at all. The schemas is actually a natural functions within our thoughts, that how we perceive the world. It's part of human nature, and because it simplifies our lives, and most importantly, it is the awareness that is important. It's the awareness. We need to understand how we think about other things and how we make judgment or evaluations or conclusions to the event. Now, secondly, first impression is important, but let's not make first impression is everything. It is indeed important, but it's not everything. So if you're an employer of a company, of course the first impression counts, but you should at least look into the performance of the person. The person might not give you the best impression, but he might perceive or he might show his ability over time. Now, how do we deal from here? On other people, as I've just said just now, what is important is your awareness and less making judgment and conclusion on other people and also on yourself. Okay, what's your schema on yourself? Now, when schemas change, schemas is always changing because you are constantly taking information from your surrounding, just as you are. So one incident could have you change your schema, or knowing someone you like to become someone you distaste. Okay, because of one event, it can change your schemas totally. Now, define communication. What is communication? What is the subject involved? The subject might be the person, and a message. What is the message? Now, communication is the act of sending one message which is effectively received by the receiver, and then a response is given by the receiver. Now, why do we communicate? Biological reason or social reason? Biological reason, we communicate verbally, and sometimes we communicate non-verbally through our actions. And also social reasons, verbally and non-verbally. Now, three main methods when we communicate is verbal communication. We speak. That is one of the obvious one. Next one is the non-verbal communication, which is the action or paralinguistic channel, including your pitch, your posture, your contour of speech. Non-verbal communication, it involves your gestures, and also your signs and symbols. Hereby, gestures means your action that translate meanings to other people, and also signs and symbols. Beware with signs and symbols because culturally, an OK sign, it means differently to other countries. Next one, verbal communications, usually it happens on the left hemisphere of your brain, and it's symbolic. Verbal, when you speak, usually you engage in your left brain. And non-verbally, you engage in your right brain, which is spontaneous, which sometimes you are not aware of, including the distance you are with someone else in the elevator, or your eye contact with someone else, your gesture, and your facial expression. Now, Bock and Wendler noticed something interesting. They look at the damage to the brain. The first one, if they notice damage on the left brain, the left side of the brain, it shows a language problem. Sometimes the person would have problems speaking. And also deficit in the language expression or comprehension. This is called aphasia. They can't express well. Now, when you see someone that can't express well, you should know that the left side of the hemisphere has been tempered. Next one is the RH. The RH is the right side of the brain. Now, this one doesn't actually, if your right side of your brain is being damaged, it doesn't actually damage your expression verbally, but you might have problems in your emotional display or your emotions recognition. You might not be able to recognize what it means or the distance that people do. Now, the issues here is the culture. We have to be aware of the culture, different culture. We cannot generalize. The main thing is we cannot generalize. And the situations and the environment. Now, this one, nonverbal, it's very interesting. It is actually a topic by itself. So if possible, I would encourage you to get some books on nonverbal language to understand why people act in this way. Now, activity, if you give a child a reward for doing something they enjoy doing, they will subsequently A, B, or C. The answer would be B. No, the answer would be A. Of course, if you give them a reward for something they like to do, of course they will do it more. Next one, repeated exposure to a stimulus like a person, a painting will make you feel, will make you like it, A or B or C. This one, it depends on your emotion. If it's A, meaning you like the painting since the beginning, B, the same, it means that it doesn't matter because it's not relevant to your life, or C, less, it means you just don't like it since the beginning. Now, who do you think would be happiest with their choice of consumer product? They spend several minutes thinking about why they like or dislike each poster, or people who choose a poster without analyzing. Which one would be happiest? And the answer would be A. They spend several minutes thinking about that, and slowly they form a schema. They would like it and where they would put, and people would appreciate or compliment when they come to their house. Yeah? Now, which kind of advertising is most effective? Subliminal messages or normal everyday advertising? There's no most effective. We have to be aware of this too. Subliminal message is the one that you're not aware of, that's unconsciously planted into our mind. Yeah, both is equally important. And the last questions, which things in the past do people regret the most? Actions they wish they hadn't done, or actions they didn't do, or it depends on how long the event has occurred. This one, it all based to how you perceive the things. Yeah, what is your schema on that thing? Now, the self-test that on the topic 2 is as below. 4 questions here. And also 4 questions behind. Yeah, try to take some time to get the answer. And then this is how topic 1 and topic 2 we have covered today. So I would see you on the next tutorial. And the next tutorial, we would talk about the social knowledge and the self. We look at how we understand the world and how we understand ourselves and the attitudes. What is our attitudes towards different things? Yeah, and Thanks. Thanks.